You may need either sets of your notes, parallel, perpendicular notes. Alright, so your job is to figure out which of these lines is the correct one. These are the clues that have to apply. Has to not be a vertical line, y-intercept is greater than -3, slope is less than 1, it is perpendicular to another line on the graph, and it is parallel to any line with a slope of 0. So find which of these lines matches all of these clues. You can talk to the people around you, see if you got the same answer, different answer. I'll give you a couple minutes to think about that, and then we'll come back. Line do we consider? D, why D?
Because it's a horizontal line, not a vertical line. The y-intercept is 2, which is greater than -3. The slope is 0, which is less than 1. It's perpendicular to F, and it's parallel to any line with a slope of 0 because it has a slope of 0.
Yes. So D would be the correct answer because it applies to all of these things. There were some other ones that were close, but that didn't fit every single thing. Like E fits some of the things. E fits some of the things. No, greater than. C fits some of the things. Mainly those. Questions about that? That was just to kind of refresh your memory on some things about parallel and perpendicular lines. Right, today we are going to review. There we go. Oh, before we do that, let's do this. So, as a reminder, your parallel and perpendicular lines Delta Math assignment was due on Tuesday of last week. And you guys did not meet the 50%. You can still do it. Make sure you do it and email me that you have done it. Just make sure it gets done. I'm trying to think of what next week. So this week we're taking our quiz and tests, and your flex day is on Tuesday, and then on Thursday we'll start our next unit lesson, and I'll explain how that's going to work also. So keep that in mind. Finish any Delta Math that you are missing. Okay. Everyone should have a review in front of you. Remember that there are only 2 objectives: writing linear equations in different formats and parallel and perpendicular lines. On the first page, which questions do you want to see, do you go over, have questions about?
Is for number 2, I can't tell if that's like if it passes through -4 or is that -5 for the y-intercept.
So it's not quite at 4 because the line doesn't touch it. So I would say at -5 for the y-intercept.
For number 3, wouldn't that be undefined?
The slope would be, but remember we're writing the equation for this, so the slope is undefined, which is what type of line? Vertical, x equals or y equals? X equals, and you would write the number where it crosses the x-axis. So make sure that you are paying attention, writing the equation, not the slopes here. Other questions on this page?
In our test, would we have to show all of our steps and like draw it goes up this amount?
So you're not graphing in this one, you're just writing. And the different ways to write would be from a graph, when given slope and y-intercept, when given slope and a point, when given 2 points. So yes, you need to show the work for anything where you have to show work. For the parallel and perpendicular, if it's asking you, are these parallel, perpendicular, or neither, and they're all in slope-intercept form, there's no work to really be shown. but if you have to solve any equations or write the equation of a line and have to solve to find it, sure you're Great, next page. Question on any on this page.
Number 1670, right? Y equals 105 minus x minus 3.
Yes, that's it. So 6 and 7, you were just writing in slope-intercept form. You're given the slope and y-intercept. You just have to put them together. Questions on 8 or 9?
The y-intercept that one. How do we find that again?
For which one?
Number 8. Don't you just, is that the one that's like y minus y1?
So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, your point slope formula. So if you see it goes through a point, you have your slope, you're using this. And then you have your x1, your y1, and your slope m. And you're putting those three numbers into your formula. If you see a negative, you can either make it plus or you can put minus minus. How you do that is up to you. So y minus 2 equals negative 3 over 2 times x. You can either put plus 2 or you can put minus minus 2, and then you have to change it to a plus 2 before you do anything else. To solve this, distribute the negative 3 halves. And get rid of the 2 by adding. Remember, if you're at home, you can be practicing checking your equations in Desmos. Yes.
How can we make it addition again?
Because this would be x minus a negative 2, these are the same.
How did you get negative 3?
If you multiplied this in your calculator with positive 2, the 2's would cancel, leaving just a negative 3. Other questions on that one? Or number 9?
Then that would be y would be negative 1.
Not the y-intercept, because you saw how to solve for that. So it would be y minus 0 equals negative 1/2 times x plus 4. But once you distribute, you have your answer. So the y value in the ordered pair is not your y-intercept. Be careful with that. Jeff?
Did you get the negative 1 again? Did you get negative 1 for number 8?
As your y-intercept, yes. Okay. On the next page, I'm going to have you write in a code. I'll save this back. Completely just made this up, so we're going to work it out together. And then there's one other in the blank space. by 17, same. Making this up. We're going to try that out together. Okay, so we're going to do the two that I just came up with. Are there any others that we want to see, do, go over, have fun about? That's a good one. 16. So let's start with 12, and then we'll do this one, and then we'll do 16, 17, and the other one I made up. So for 12, so this is still part of the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. If you remember, that's top 2. However, if we have a slope that's undefined, we can't put that in the equation. It's not possible. So this one you would have to do without work. You would have to know that if I have an undefined slope, I'm dealing with an x equals. And when I'm dealing with an x equals, I'm going to look at my x value and write that down. That's it. But you have to be able to recognize and do that. Now, if it says slope equals 0, you could do the same thing, or you could do the work. You have a choice for that one. But undefined, you cannot do the work at all. Questions on that one? Okay. For this one that I made up, we have a slope, we have the point, so let's do our point slope. Y minus 5 equals, I think I did that backwards. Because, yeah, okay, let's change this. Because the way I had it, we could have just wrote that as our equation. So skip that one, rewrite. Because I wanted to show you that sometimes you'll get fraction y-intercepts as we did before. So I changed our point. So here we would distribute and get negative 25 thirds. So sometimes this is the case, that you get fractions for the y-intercept and the slope. But if it were how I had it before, that would have just been your equation, y equals 5 thirds x plus 5. I don't know if we're going to get through all of 16, but we can start it. Alright, for these problems where you have 2 points, you have to find your slope first. That's your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that would be 0, either minus a negative 5 or plus 5 over 0 minus 4. What is your slope? Negative 5/4.
Negative plus 5.
It is positive 5, but this is negative, so you can either put the negative with the 5 or out front. Either one. We could do the work for this one, but we are given a y-intercept. So then we would just write our equation, y equals negative 5/4 x plus 0. Don't need the plus 0. Questions on that one or anyone we've done so far? let's find the slope of 17 and then we'll stop. So 4 minus 1 over negative 4 minus 5. What is that slope? 3 over negative 9, which would simplify to be negative 1. Alright, we will continue that one when we get. Okay, so we found our slope. Now we need to take one of these points and use our point slope. Which one do we want to use?
I don't know what that is, but someone is playing music loudly.
5, 1 or negative 4, 4. Which point do we want to use?
Y1.
5, 1.
No, Y1. Oh, yes.
Okay, so 1 y minus 1 equals negative 1/3 times x minus 5. So y minus 1 equals negative 1/3 x plus, what will this be when we multiply? There's 5 first. And then when we add 1, what will that new y-intercept be? 2. Would be 6/3. But it wouldn't be 6/3. 8/3. Because this would be 3 over 3. We add it. Because you have to make this 3. So that would be
Multiplied.
you would have to multiply, correct? Well, figure common denominators. So 8/3. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 8/3. It's 5 over 3. Questions on that one? Okay, let's do this last one.
Adding one. Oh, add one whole. I got it.
Alright, find the slope first. 2 minus a negative 6 or 2 plus 6 over 1/3 minus 0. We have 8 over 1/3, which we cannot leave like this. So you can either put this into your calculator, alpha y equals, go all the way down, alpha y equals, then in the end, or take this, flip it, and multiply. What is our new slope? 24. Are we given a y-intercept? 24. Because we are given our y-intercept, we don't have to solve. Y equals 24x minus 6. Done. Questions on any of the ones we've done so far? Yes.
So anything that's like like 0, 6 for the y-intercept.
Yes. So you don't have to do the work, you still can. You don't have to. But yes, the y-intercept is already given. As long as the 0 comes first. If it's like 5, 0, then lucky. Okay, on to the next page. Questions on this page. We are now in parallel and perpendicular lines.
How do you know if they're perpendicular again?
They have negative reciprocal slopes. So you take it, flip it, and make it opposite of whatever it is. So for this one, it would be positive. That would be the perpendicular.
And how do you know if they're parallel?
They have the same slope but different y-intercepts. You have questions on any of these ones? Okay. Okay, for 18, we're looking for which one is parallel to this. So we have to solve this equation first by doing what? Subtract 5x to both sides. Negative 2y equals negative 5x plus 18, and then divide everything by negative 2. So y equals positive 5 over 2x minus 9. So if it is parallel, which of these would be parallel to this? C has the same slope. D has a negative version of this slope, so that would not be the answer. And then A is flipped. B would be perpendicular. For 19, someone was about to ask that question. Yes.
How would you get negative from?
How did we get? Oh, this just happens to be an equation in a different y-intercept. This part doesn't matter. We just need something that's parallel. So it has to have the same slope but a different y-intercept. So if it had negative 9, that actually wouldn't be parallel. They'd be the same line. 19. This is already solved for us, but these are not. But what would the slope that is perpendicular to this be? Positive 1/3. So if I were to start solving this, let's say I started to solve A and I subtracted 3x, I'd have a y equals negative 3x, which is not 1/3, so I'm going to stop there because that would not work. C is in the same format as A, except this is negative, so that means it would be a positive 3x instead of negative. So again, that would not work. So then we have B and D. If we were to try B, subtract x on both sides, and divide everything by 3, would that give us the positive slope that we're looking for? No. So that means D would be our final answer. So you may be able to solve one right away and not have to solve all 3 or solve 2. It depends if you get a question like that. For 22, it says find the value of A that would make the first equation perpendicular to the second. So we first have to solve this. Divide both sides by 2. And if we were to put in something that's perpendicular to the second one, what would A equal? Negative 2. Other questions on this page? Okay. To find the slope of the line that is parallel and perpendicular to each line. So we have 3 lines. You need to find the parallel slope and the perpendicular slope for each one. Remember, these are parallel symbols, these are perpendicular symbols. So A is already in slope-intercept form. So if we were looking for a slope that is parallel to line A, what would the slope be? 4. If it was perpendicular to line A, what would that slope be? Negative 1/4. Negative 1/4. Now B is almost in slope-intercept form, but the slope and the y-intercept are switched. So you don't have to switch them, but you can if it helps you. So if we were looking for a slope that is parallel to this equation, what would that be? -2. What would a slope that is perpendicular to this be? Positive 1/2. C, we have to solve. Divide everything by 2. And if we were looking for a slope that is parallel, what would that be? 3/2. And if we were looking for something that's perpendicular, what would that be? -2. Any others on this page? The next page is more writing. We kind of touched on those already, so go on to the next page. The page that looks like this are very similar to the questions we just did. 1, 2, and 3 are numbers 20 that we just did. 7, 9, and 11 are 21 from the previous page. And then 23 and 24 are 22 and 23 from that previous page. So we could do 7, 9, 11, 15, 17, 19, 20, or 24. Any of those. Questions on any of those?
Number 9.
So looking at these two, are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Parallel. How do we know that? And same slope, different y-intercepts, so you are parallel, yes.
Are you taking points out if you don't use the symbol?
You can write the word or use the symbol, doesn't matter. Don't put the incorrect symbol because then I won't know what you're talking about, but 2 lines or the upside down P if you want to use the symbol. There are questions on this page? Okay, so this one is also a parallel, perpendicular, or neither, but we have to solve both of these. I'm going to do that simultaneously. Subtract x. We have y equals negative x plus 5 and y equals negative x minus 10. Are these parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Parallel, because they have the same slope, different y-intercepts. Any others? Okay. On the next page are all of your writing equations, where you're given an equation, given a point, and you have to write a new equation that goes through the given point. Any of those we want to see, to go over, have questions about?
We just do number 1.
Sure. Start with that one. For this, because it is parallel, we need it to be parallel, our new equation. We're using our point slope, which I'll write once more. We have an equation. You can cross out the y-intercept, you don't need it. If it is parallel, the slope is going to be the same, -4. You have your x1 and y1, and you're going to put all of those values into your equation. So y minus, our y1 is 3, equals our slope, -4, times x plus 1, or minus 1, and then we change it. Distribute, and add 3. What is our new equation. Y equals negative 4x minus 1 would be our parallel line, or our line that is parallel to the original that goes through that point. Similar to number 1, but this is perpendicular. So we have to change the slope, get rid of the y-intercept, you don't need it, but change the slope. What would our new slope be? Negative 4/3. So now we have our slope, we have our x1, we have our y1, and then we can use our equation. Y minus a negative 3 or y plus 3 equals negative 4/3 times x minus 3. Distribute and solve. Our final equation, which I'm going to write over here, is what? This would be perpendicular to the original that goes through that point. There are questions on this page. Or questions on the last page. They're very similar to what we just did. We don't have any other questions. That is the rest of your review. So for the rest of class, you can be working on these items. Finishing working on the review, keep working through it. You guys can work together, work for yourself. Use Desmos if you would like, but remember you're not using Desmos on the quiz, on the test. You can work on Delta Math, any of them that you may be missing. If you are good with this stuff, good with the upcoming quiz and test, and want to work on retake stuff, you can do that. But those are your choices. We should not be getting phones. Use this time wisely. Let me know if you have